For the 2020 hackathon, we've spent the last 3 weeks working really hard on our stake pull project and progressing our skills as rapidly as we can. And also, the purpose of this, we've worked on capturing footage to share out our efforts and what we're trying to accomplish, especially solving some problems in Wyoming, especially relative to education. We feel like there's a huge need for what we're doing, and I think it's really important that we share out our efforts and hopefully lead to some kind of example for others to follow. The Wyoming Hackathon has been very important to my students and I. We've attended at least in person 2 years, and in spirit for the last year my students did. So that has really sparked interest, both as as teachers here at the school and for my students. It's really garnered a lot of passion. There is a demand at the University of Wyoming for students coming out of high school with computer science and blockchain experience, and now stake pool experience. The university will be running their own Cardano stake pool, so with the students I have here having those skills, it could be a natural fit in the future. I believe that the value of blockchain knowledge and tech knowledge will soon transcend just working in the industry, especially as the tech is adopted and becomes more mainstream. Hi, I'm Jesse Smith, a technologist, stake pool operator on Cardano mainnet. I run the stake pool Bounty One. I currently teach computer science and STEM technologies to high school students. We currently are learning about blockchain and stake pool operation on Cardano testnet. Currently, my students are working on a Raspberry Pi stake pool project. We are currently running 22 Cardano nodes using the Haskell software on 4 GB Raspberry Pi 4s. These are all configured and currently up and running on the Cardano testnet. The goal with this project is to have each student running and managing their own pool. They will learn a long list of skills as we do this. Currently they're configured in a relay and block producer configuration. We've gone from, I have students that have never opened a command line to they're now learning how to configure a stake pool. So we're learning command line interface skills, Linux skills. We have to learn about TCP IP. This is all project based. We're learning how to format JSONs, how to do some DevOps things like a small amount of programming. We're building open source software from source using things like Cabal. We're learning systemd, general blockchain, open source software, key management, cybersecurity, all of these things necessary to run a competent stake pool on the Cardano network. Like I said, we're running it on the testnet. The exciting thing about this is we get to test things as they come out without having the stresses of being in a full production environment and with monetary risks. For example, peer-to-peer is coming out. My students and I have talked about that. We'll be able to play with that on testnet before it's released on mainnet. We'll also have first hands-on with Gogin and smart contracts. So these are exciting things we're looking forward to in the future. Currently, all of our Raspberry Pis, we have them running in a cluster that we've dubbed the name Frank and Shelley. They're all running on power over Ethernet, and with the 22 nodes on Raspberry Pis, the total power usage is under 350 watts, which I think is pretty impressive. We also, at the school, we have around 15 other nodes running on the testnet as well for various things. Other things we will learn are node monitoring through Grafana and Prometheus, and monitoring, making sure we can have consistent uptime, that we don't crash during epoch switchovers and whatnot. The goal of this project is to have my students running successful Cardano stake pools, and to hopefully develop some very legitimate and good DevOps skills. Once we're done with the testnet, once our students have all become competent pool operators, we're going to move into porting Cardano to have a local network. The purpose for this is just learning. Basically, we'd like to create our own Genesis block. We'd like to see if we can port dataless over successfully, create and run our own Smash server, to verify metadata hashes. One of the key things in this is figuring out how to incentivize our local internal network. We do have some ideas on how we're going to do this. One of which is to provide, you can trade your Shoshoni data or whatever for things like virtual reality time or other cool things that we have set up. It'll also be nice to see if we can encourage adoption outside of our classroom, see if we can get other students in the school involved. Why is this important for Wyoming? Well, Wyoming is the friendliest blockchain state in the U.S. With the legislation that has been passed over the last couple of years, we're starting to see a flood of activity and companies moving here, not only in name and not only through LLCs, but they're moving here physically. The demands on labor are going to increase. There's going to be quite a talent gap coming up, especially locally. I believe, how Wyoming is positioned, I feel like we need to grow our own talent. I think this cannot be overstated. I want to give opportunities to students in a rural school in a cutting-edge industry like cryptocurrencies, blockchain. Along with the Raspberry Pi stake pool project, I also have a small group of students who have kind of wanted to choose another path other than blockchain, and I currently have them doing an ethical hacking course. I've decided to try and tie these two projects together. The node operators are going to be responsible for keeping their nodes intact. Ethical hackers and pen testers are going to try to gain access to my stake pool operators' nodes, and as a result, the operators are going to have to learn how to harden their nodes. They're going to have to learn, different attack surfaces, along with the ethical hackers. And these skills, again, will transcend whatever business they go into, whatever career they pursue. So knowing, how you can be vulnerable is very important, especially in the cryptocurrency industry and with blockchain in general, where, a set of keys means everything.